So yesterday we got the full confirmation and seemingly out of nowhere that Call of Duty World War II's DLC 4 entitled Shadow War will be coming out this upcoming Tuesday, the 28th of August for PlayStation 4 users, and then 30 days later for Xbox One and PC users. Now yesterday we broke down that trailer that was debuted and gave you guys a few things you may have missed. There were some really cool things within that trailer, not only gameplay wise, but also some cool new features like sharing access of DLC 4 with Season Pass holders to those that do not have it if you party up. So in that case, that's something that you don't have to necessarily buy the DLC to actually be able to play it, but if you end up partying up with a friend that does have the Season Pass, you can end up doing that. But outside of all those other cool things that were mentioned within that trailer and all the other gameplay features we saw the first looks at, one thing that was mentioned was that of Sledgehammer's community update. Now, as of their last week's post, they said that they were going to have a full update here for us on Thursday, but that's actually been pushed back to Monday. But instead of just saying, hey, we don't have anything here with this, they actually did give us a little bit of a briefing on what to look out for. And through that, there's actually a massive amount of stuff that we can look forward to come Monday. So I want to detail that here for you guys, give you the breakdown and everything you need to know about that, but also some things that we might end up seeing as a result out of it. So if you're like me and saw the Twitter post firstly here for this, it ended up saying, quick hashtag COD World War II update. No weekly update this week. We're detailing a new Division update, new basic trainings, and patch notes ahead of DLC 4 on Monday next week. Hit the link. And then that took you to the Reddit thread where it actually detailed a little bit further, because whenever I first initially saw this, I was like, okay, so we're getting some divisions reworked. Maybe we'll have some things with the Cavalry Division. Maybe we'll end up seeing a breakaway where the shield is not necessarily division specific. So I ended up thinking about it at a more macro level, where it was something that really at a top-down level, divisions would be tuned slightly once again. But if you end up going over to that Reddit thread, you end up seeing that the title is Weekly Update moved to next week, patch notes, division, and additional basic trainings info on Monday, August 27th. And the actual thread reads, hello friends, in light of next week being a big content drop for DLC 4 on PlayStation 4, and adding a new division and set of basic trainings for all platforms to the mix, we're postponing our update to Monday next week. So right there, my initial thought was a little off. We're actually getting a brand new division and a few new basic trainings here with this update coming, presumably maybe halfway through Monday, so that players can get access to DLC 4 on PlayStation 4, but also it's there available, playable for everybody once that patch goes live for all platforms. But let's bring this down a little bit further. Let's take this one step at a time. Let's start with probably one of the biggest additions here out of this, which I'm incredibly excited for, that being a brand new division. Now previously we saw two additions in terms of post-launch divisions, one in DLC 1 and one in DLC 3. So if you're kind of taking a look at it in a sort of pattern sense, it's a little weird that we'll be getting one for DLC 4. But it also might not be, and I'll explain that in just a second. But the one thing that I do want to put out there immediately is that right away my mind went to, well, what if this explains the slide that we saw yesterday in the DLC trailer? Because it's something that even in Legacy Code, we see that paratroopers have the ability to slide. It was going to be the main mechanic before they ended up adding dolphin diving back into the game. And of course, that's what made it into the launch. But the game code is there for sliding. And even in the trailer yesterday, we saw one tidbit where it looked like somebody was sliding. So maybe that kind of explains this. We'll probably come back to that later on in the video for another hunch that it might be, but regardless, that was the thing that initially came into my mind. Whether it's right or wrong, who knows? But that said, a new division may follow in line with the final two divisions that we've seen from leaks a long while back. If you guys remember back to DLC 2, if you remember that Grenadier division leak, that was something in which these bonus divisions were leaked all at the same time. We ended up seeing that we had the Resistance division already laid out to us, but there was also 4 other divisions that were in the game files as of the time of DLC 2. So that being the Grenadier division, the Commando division, the Scout division, and the Artillery division. But of course, the timing of things messed up in which we didn't get one for every single DLC. I'm still a firm believer that we were meant to get a new division every single DLC, but the division overhaul around the time of DLC 2 messed all of that up, because previously, the known Grenadier division would have nullified everything that we see currently. That's something that the division would give a 4th score streak, built-in hardline, which via game files was a mix of hardline as we know it, plus Blitzkrieg now, so that became the Blitzkrieg basic training. Score streak buffs were included in that Grenadier division, which once again is Blitzkrieg's ability, as well as a new rifle grenade launcher, which after the division overhaul was an attachment, not a specific division item. We saw all those specific division items get detached from the divisions they were associated with, so things like the suppressor were no longer just on airborne and SMGs in airborne, they were on SMGs no matter what division you were using, plus pistols. The bayonet became something that was just an attachment for rifles, not something that needed you to use infantry and rifles to get it automatically, and so on and so forth. So while probably planning all this stuff months in ahead and then seeing the outcry for changes on how the division system worked, we ended up seeing the overhaul probably was a later and afterthought than that of what was already planned out for these divisions. So in my mind, that probably nullified all of the abilities granted with the Grenadier division and probably even scrapped it as a result for DLC 2. So we didn't see one specifically given with that, but then we came back with DLC 3, which was then the air quote Commando division, which later became the Cavalry division, and the assets associated with the Commando division in the game files were then later turned into the Specialist basic training, but we still have up on deck the Scout and Artillery division, which either could be the basis for this new division. We have no information as to what this will be, and to my knowledge, there's nothing in the game files that as of recently actually showed any progress on these new divisions, especially from what we've seen previously. Whereas we saw the update after the Blitzkrieg event gave us a little more information on the Commando division, which again later in turn became the Cavalry division, but since then we haven't seen any more updates added in that gave some progress specifically on those extra divisions. So your guess is as good as mine as to what this could be, but there were some things that did point to this being another division. Now while we're getting a new division, my initial thought of it just being a current division update might not be all that wrong either. We might still be getting some updates and adjustments to the current divisions, because over on Twitter, Sledgehammer gave some indication that the Cavalry division will be getting a little bit of an adjustment and will be mentioned in the post on Monday. They were asked in a reply, is there going to be something done about Cavalry riot shield hit detection? Tired of shooting people center mass and somehow it hits their shield even though they're not holding it. To which Sledge answered in the update notes on Monday, but don't tell anyone. So surprisingly, this is something that I haven't seen all that much discussion of, and I wanted to bring it up to you guys because as it stands right now, the tweet only has about 20 likes, which is fairly low even for their regular reply tweets, and even still on an issue that many people have been concerned about, it's kind of surprising to me we haven't seen more publicity around this tweet in particular. So this might be the first time you're hearing about it, but there will be a Cavalry adjustment, hopefully on that topic of hit detection when it comes to the shield and accurately having the hits either hit body or the shield, but actually being where you shoot instead of where it is now, where it can kind of be a hit or miss, where you could hit them in the body, but the hit detection's off, so it says you hit them in the shield. And a final quick little division note here is that I'm kind of expecting a little bit of information regarding that new DLC weapon that we talked about yesterday. We mentioned during our trailer breakdown and things you may have missed that in the one promo image for DLC 4 Shadow War, there was a brand new LMG that a soldier was holding. It wasn't anything that we've seen currently within World War II, because the magazine is a completely different magazine and it's a different location than that of any other LMGs in the game currently, and so the sleuths of Reddit and other social media places all came out, and one of the resounding answers that there might be here for this is the Walmer LMG, or what is in the game files known as the Châtelet. If we do end up getting a new division, it's probably going to reward us with a new weapon and a weapon variant for first prestige and also the max prestige of that division. And that said, if we end up seeing something like the Scout, that would more so indicate more sniper play, but the Artillery division is still something that kind of sounds more LMG-like. So maybe we end up seeing something where that is the brand new LMG that is rewarded for the division. So we'll see if not, but if it's not actually division specific, it's probably going to default back to being a new DLC weapon that is introduced in the next event in World War II. Like we mentioned again that during DLC 3's trailer, we ended up seeing the Delisle sniper rifle, which was added in via Liberty Strike. So very possible it could be that one, but it's kind of 50-50 up in the air with that one. But the final thing that I really want to mention here with this is that we're going to be getting new basic trainings, to which there's still a lot of stuff that could be done here at this one. If you guys remember back a while ago here up on the channel, we detailed a lot of things that didn't actually make it into the game or that kind of got cut or as a result of changes made from the early alpha, beta, and then full launch of the game. Some things were just completely left out. So of those things, there's still a lot of basic trainings that could be picked and brought back up to life here with this, even though we haven't seen any indication of them in the game files, or it could be something entirely new, because while we did see a lot of things cut from the E3 demo of World War II in terms of basic trainings, that's something that we've also seen a lot of that passed up for the release release of brand new ones. So a lot of the basic trainings that you've seen currently actually weren't in the game before the launch and were things added post-launch. So things like Wanderlust, that was never in the game before launch and is something that was kind of just added in for the fun of it. So it might be something in which they pick apart pieces of other basic trainings that were otherwise scrapped from pre-release, or it's possible that they end up adding in brand new ones that we've seen absolutely no indication of ever, which I'm totally cool with. And again, one thing that kind of comes back to that whole conspiracy theory that I had as of yesterday, maybe we end up getting a basic training that allows us to slide rather than dolphin dive, which to me would actually be a very easy way to implement this. You just change some of the core code with that and allow for the same mechanics, whereas you'd go dolphin diving, you'd instead slide. And that would also be something that would be interesting to see how it changes the meta, because you have to consciously sacrifice something that will benefit your gameplay just to get that slide back. Very similar to what Wanderlust does. In terms of you being able to try out every single weapon, but not get something that benefits your gameplay otherwise, that's kind of once again a major meta shakedown that could be very similar to what we see with a sliding basic training. But regardless, we're going to be getting a batch of those, normally end up getting 2 to 3 per DLC, but if we end up getting a new division, we'll obviously have the possibility that, like Specialist, we get one tied with a division as well. But ultimately, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up, because these are the big things that were already mentioned, we know are going to be coming, and rightfully are absolutely massive in how the game will play. I'm very excited to see what the new division will be like. Of course, on top of all of this with patch notes, we end up seeing we'll get a lot more in-depth and detailed stuff. A lot of things regarding maybe to weapon tuning and fixes, some bug fixes. One thing that I think has come back once again is the spawn into spectate, where you spawn and you just spectate a teammate for a good 10-15 seconds or so before actually jumping into the match. There's going to be a lot more that is added in here with these patch notes and this update on Monday, so it's going to be a big one. Make sure you stick it right here up on the channel, because we'll keep you guys up to date with all things regarding all of that. We're of course going to be breaking it down and giving you guys heads up on everything coming in with not only that update, but also DLC 4. So we'll give you guys an in-depth breakdown on the new division, the new basic trainings, all that good stuff. So of course, make sure you stick it here up on the channel. But that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, hopefully found it insightful. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you guys excited for the new division, the new basic trainings, a new weapon potentially, whatever it may be? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down there. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you guys are new to the channel, once again, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding Call of Duty World War II DLC 4. I'm super hyped for it. Again, I'm very excited for the new basic trainings, the new division. I always love that kind of stuff to give us a new way to play. So stick it right here up on the channel. We'll be detailing all that for you guys, and of course, anything relating to Call of Duty in general. If you guys are interested in any of that, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing. If you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get connected with me outside of YouTube. Practically live on Twitter. Want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. And Instagram, if you guys want to follow on that front as well, feel free to. Trying to grow that a little bit more, so love to have you guys, but totally up to you. With that said, hopefully you guys are having a great day. Thank you guys all so much for watching once again. Mine has been Espresso. Take care, and peace.